Welcome, absurdists, to the inaugural YouTube channel for the inaugural episode. God damn it. Fuck me.
Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural episode of the Football Absurdity YouTube show.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah. Wow. If only you were Waleed Ismail, that would have been perfect.
Right?
Welcome, absurdists, to the inaugural episode of Football Absurdity's YouTube channel. I'm Waleed Ismail, co-founder of Football Absurdity, and with me is my co-host, Football Absurdity contributor and co-founder of the Fancy Boys Club, Brandon Andreessen. Brandon, how you doing?
I am doing great. We are T-minus 24 hours away from the true fantasy football drafting season. I've got 4 drafts in 24 hours coming up. I am psyched. I am ready. We're here to talk about, though, a draft we had last week. My favorite type of draft. We did it auction style. Tell them about that.
So every year, Football Absurdity has all its contributors join into a no-holds-barred auction league, the Football Absurdity Experts League. And this episode, our inaugural episode, is going to do what Football Absurdity does best. We are going to shit on each other. I'm going to tell Brandon exactly why his team is terrible, and he's going to do the same for me. Brandon, do you want to get us started?
I'm going to use a fact-based approach, and you're just going to throw wild accusations out there.
The facts are I'm going to beat your ass, so I don't really know what you need to say here.
The fact is, you spent a third of your money on Ezekiel Elliott and A.J. Green, who are going to combine to get you 0 games played in the first month of the season.
I can't really argue with you there, but A.J. Green was $11. When he's healthy, he is a wide receiver 1. The problem is he's not always healthy the last couple of years, but he's a great lottery pick. I'll take that. I mean, I'll take it over Tyler Lockett, $22 for a wide receiver on Seattle who only likes to run the ball.
That's true, but they're also a team that only likes to run the ball with a bunch of injured running backs, and then they can't run the ball, so then they got to pass the ball. And when they pass the ball, they have to go to somebody. DK Metcalf is injured, so Tyler Lockett maybe makes a little bit of sense, unlike your entire team. Hey, let's talk about how much money you spent on David Montgomery, the backup running back in Chicago.
The backup running back? I'm sorry, I believe you got the backup running back in Chicago. His name is Tariq Cohen. You got him cheaper, but he's going to get a lot less points than David Montgomery is. David Montgomery is going to be the man.
The $4 I spent on All-Pro Tariq Cohen, as opposed to how much he spent? 26?
All-Pro at returner. Like, he's an All-Pro punt returner.
An all-around great player.
All-around good player. As a Bears fan, I like him. I don't love him.
For $26, though, for 12.5% of your entire budget, you took a guy who's never played in an NFL down in a system that proved that Jordan Howard didn't have a place.
Jordan Howard proved Jordan Howard doesn't have a place. David Montgomery is Kareem Hunt 2.0, minus the domestic abuse, of course.
Yeah, because, everyone is willing to spend $26 to get a rookie out of that football powerhouse that is Iowa State University. Is Seneca Wallace coming back? Are we going to get that next? You want to spend
you know what David Montgomery has that Todd Gurley that you spent $46 on has? 2 functioning knees. I like my running backs able to run. That's just me, though.
I'm kind of one of those guys where I'd rather have guys who have established themselves as good instead of just preying on it and throwing shit at a wall and seeing what'll stick right here. All right, so I want to know, Owen, you're just totally fine going 0-4 to start the season, right? You just gone 4.
Are we looking at the same team here? Okay, I got Ezekiel Elliott and A.J. Green, but I got guys who can cover him.
You are currently predicted to be the lowest scoring team in the league this week. So who's covering who? You're starting Jameis Winston, and your backups are Mitch Trubisky and Kirk Cousins. Even fantasy-wise, that's low upside. Jameis Winston got benched like twice last year, right?
I'm looking for the Bruce Arians effect, man. He's just going to chuck it. I just hope he just throws as many touchdowns as he throws interceptions. That's all I need from Jameis. As for, but I mean, I get it. Like, if we're going to throw shit at the wall, you got Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, and David Njoku. I don't know about you, but like 3 different players on the Cleveland Browns on one fantasy roster, you're just tripling down on sadness, sir.
On. I'm driving this hype train that is the Cleveland Browns, and it's leaving the station without you right now. David Njoku is going to be a top 3 tight end in the NFL this year, fantasy-wise. Take it to the bank. Only Travis Kelce. Only George Kittle.
Did you just say David Njoku is going to be a top 3 tight end? David Stonehands Njoku? I think you're looking at O.J. Howard on my roster, who actually is going to be a top 3 tight end.
Yeah, if blocking points were all that mattered and dropped 3-yard crossing patterns were counted as points.
Once again, it sounds like we're talking about David Njoku. Yards per catch, I don't think there's a tight end who's had a better first 2 years than O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard has been killing it.
Every tight end has had a better first 2 years. He's barely had a better first 2 years than Adam Shaheen, and Adam Shaheen's only played 4 games.
Not. I thought you said you were only doing fact-based burns here.
Oh, no. That is as fact as it gets right there. That's all I'm talking about. And let's talk about that Cleveland Browns offense real quick. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield. You can't cover them all. And if you try, that means David Njoku's running wide open down the field, which means he's going to be getting a lot of easy touchdowns.
If he ever learns how to catch a football, he will. Now, I thought you said you were doing fact-based stats, but O.J. Howard in his first 2 years, what?
Exclusively fact-based.
Fact-based. So the fact that O.J. Howard has averaged 11 yards per target in his first 2 years, that's not a fact?
He's been targeted 18 times in 2 years.
He's been 18 times. Oh my God! Son of a bitch!
You can't even say. What was it? Ryan Fitzpatrick wasn't.
He's been targeted 87 times. Look at this, Mr. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is not facts.
All right, here's facts. You have Jameis Winston on your team. You have Joe Mixon on your team. Why didn't you also just go out and cream hunt Tyreek Hill and start an all-convicts team while you were at
it? Hey, I'm trying to win, not win brownie points, all right?
You're trying to win, yet you're starting David or DJ Moore at wide receiver. The only thing you're trying to win is a Cam Newton kiss-ass contest, and that ain't going to win you too many fantasy leagues because it can't even get you 3rd place in the NFC South.
DJ Moore, first year, he was one of the better rookie receivers last year. I'd say he was probably top 3.
Rookie class, he wasn't one of the 5 best receivers.
Who was better than him as a rookie?
You have a better receiver from that rookie class on your bench, and Calvin Ridley is no prize pig himself.
Calvin Ridley was the best rookie wide receiver last year. Who was better than him?
Me. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The only receivers who were better, arguably, than DJ Moore is Anthony Miller, Calvin Ridley. DJ Moore, second half of the season he had some great games. He's a great upside play. And honestly, Kenny Galladay is a solid wide receiver too. And he's the number 1 receiver.
Anytime you can draft a guy who had 2 touchdowns and 788 yards receiving last year, you got to pull the trigger on that one. His long reception last year was 32 yards. He fumbled as many times as he had touchdowns last year. And you're telling me DJ Moore is an upside play? Moore is an upside play only if he's playing on such a piss-poor team that doesn't matter.
The fact of the matter is,
if he was a Miami
Dolphins. Know how rookies operate? 700 yards is a good number for rookies.
He's on the Panthers, who have a former MVP at quarterback, who have an all-purpose running back, all-world in Christian McCaffrey, and yet every year the Carolina Panthers march out this motley crew of rejects out there like they're the Sandlot or Little Giants, thinking that everyone's just going to turn it around in the end with the annexation of Puerto Rico, and they're going to make the playoffs. But the reality is every year, whether it's Calvin Benjamin, whether it is Devin Funchess, whether it's now DJ Moore, it doesn't matter. They draft garbage receivers, and then people who don't know anything about fantasy football go, no, they got upside. Go on.
It sounds to me like you're saying DJ Moore is about to get fat. Like, that's what I heard there. I don't think he is.
Fatter than me.
Oh, yeah, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's going to be good. I just don't know how to argue with you when you just say lies.
How do you argue?
Terrible lies.
How can you argue with me? What you drafted?
How can I argue with Mark Andrews? That's how strongly you feel about David Njoku that you got a backup tight end and Mark Andrews. Yeah, that vaunted Baltimore passing game. He should have gone for the running game that Baltimore has, like I did. Mark Ingram gonna be great.
On what planet? The moon, where he weighs a seventh as much as he weighs now?
Mark Ingram has been
slow down, fatty. You're not on the moon yet.
The last 3 years, while sharing touches with Alvin Kamara. Well, maybe not last year. He was just short of being an RB2 in the games he played. But that's because of the 4-game suspension. It hurts. What are you going to do? But now he's the main guy in a team that only knows how to run the ball. I mean, I'll take Mark Ingram over Chris Carson because Mark Ingram, as long as he doesn't get suspended, will play his games and he won't be hurt.
That's adorable because Mark Ingram will get suspended. And in only 2 more games played last year, Chris Carson had 500 more yards rushing.
Yeah, because Mark Ingram was splitting touches with Alvin Kamara, one of the best running backs in football. Who was Chris Carson splitting carries with? Rashad Penny? Mike Davis?
If you're going to try and play revisionist history, Rashad Penny was actually getting a bunch of carries early in the season before we realized he was nothing but a pant load, and he couldn't do anything. Chris Carson took over. Chris Carson did,
and that's why.
He is a steal. He is a bargain for anybody that gets him. All he has to do is put 13 games on the board for you, and if he's ready come playoff time in fantasy.
I'm not saying Chris Carson wasn't a bargain. I'm just saying he's not as good as Mark Ingram.
That's neat because I paid half as much for Chris Carson as you paid for I'm sorry. I did speak wrong there. I paid more for Chris Carson because Chris Carson's a better running back. I paid nearly $1 more.
He's worth $1 more, isn't he? You enjoy him when he's on IR for you.
Of offense, I paid $1 more.
Yeah.
With your vaunted quarterbacking crew. Your quarterbacking crew.
Kirk Cousins has been – last year was the first year in a while Kirk Cousins wasn't a QB1. He's going to be a low-end QB1. He's not going to dazzle you, but it's because I didn't want to spend money on quarterbacks. I decided to invest in the best running back core in our league.
You don't have the best running back core among people named
Ezekiel Elliott, David Montgomery, Joe Mixon, Mark Ingram, and the wonderful Darwin Thompson, who's going to be the starter in Kansas City at some point. So I feel like
he might be at some point, but because you have Ezekiel up, because you have AJ Green, you have not jack shit else beyond that. You're going to be 0-5 by the time Darwin Thompson and your season's over, and you're sitting around going, well, maybe if I win 8 straight games,
Darwin Thompson's going to be starting before week 4. DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Anthony Miller. I got these second-year receivers who are going to more than make up for the fact that AJ Green's hurt for a little bit. Zeke,
You know what my fantasy team and a basketball have in common? They're both incredibly well-rounded, and they're made for an entire season. I got strength. I've got depth. I can't help it that you guys let me pick up Duke Johnson for $6, who is going to be a 3-down back with the Texans because the Texans don't have dick else.
He's going to be a 3-down back for about 2 games until he gets blown up.
I love these people handjacking themselves going, oh, they're going to sign Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde will change everything. Carlos Hyde is getting cut from his 3rd team in 2 years. Carlos Hyde ain't doing anything. Carlos Hyde is not usurping any touches from Duke Johnson.
That's what Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson have in common. They aren't doing anything. What's Duke Johnson going to do behind that Houston offensive line? They can keep feeding him the ball, but he's going to suffer from Ronald Jones syndrome. He's getting tackled behind a line of scrimmage.
Oh, that's well, Ronald Jones would be an upgrade over what most of your team is at this point. But the fact of the matter is, Duke Johnson has at least proven himself to be able to handle some capabilities on an NFL field, and he was doing it for a much more garbage team than the Houston Texans.
Wait, did you say who? Did you say Ronald Jones has been proving himself more in an NFL field? Do you even watch football?
Johnson has been proving himself more in an NFL field.
What? Who?
Yeah. Duke.
What name? Duke Johnson. Johnson. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Ronald Jones. I was going to be like, now I just know you're drunk. So.
Nah, you said you are in week 6 desperate to find a replacement for Ezekiel Elliott, are going to panic and try and because you're talking about the upside.
I don't need a replacement for him. My running backs are 4 deep right now, and we'll be 5 deep in about a month. So I'm good.
When you're 0-5.
0-5. That's adorable. I don't know.
Lowest scoring team in
We're
the
just gonna have to wait and see. I will say this: I cannot wait for the follow-up to this at the end of the season when one of us has to eat crow, and
I am
I look
literally
forward.
going to have to own a telescope to see how far down you are in the standings compared to me.
All right, Brandon. I feel like this has been a blast.
We'll do this each and every week. Me just roasting your ass.
You can roast me all you want, but we're going to be roasting other things. You don't have to just roast me. There's plenty of NFL players, games, and just owners to like roast. And actually, I kind of want to, maybe next episode, I think what we're going to do is roast our teammates because, man, as bad as you were, Brandon, and you were pretty terrible, they made some bad decisions. You were not terrible.
So for those who don't know, before we get out of here real quick, and before we get out of here, I'm going to shamelessly plug myself. You can check me out over at footballabsurdity.com. I am the 30-team parlay. We are dropping my unders, overs, and playoff picks for all 32 teams in the NFL. And next week, I'll be putting my first bets out there, best bets, parlays, and so on. You can also check me out over at fancyboysclub.com, where I'm previewing each division, and I'm doing a weekly power ranking. And while we're at it, let's talk about the fact that Waleed currently has the lowest scoring team in the league by projection. His team is projected to score fewer points than a team called Managerless Team, which isn't a joke. It's actually a computer-run team that we're using as a baseline to see how bad people are. And Waleed is already limboing underneath that quota.
The day I give a shit about Yahoo projections is the day I stop being good at fantasy football.
Can we talk about the projections that say I won the draft, by the way?
Yeah, you know what? That and a quarter will buy you a Coke. Well, in like 20 years ago. I don't know. I don't know why people still say that. I don't know. People do still say that. And guys, thank you for joining us on this inaugural episode. I've been Waleed Ismail from Football Absurdity. Please check out the website. If you haven't had your draft yet, you definitely want to check out our beer sheets. And thank you and good night.